Yo, what's good guys? Inswain with Inswain Audio. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and to join our family because I drop videos just like this every single day. There's not many doing it like this. Come on, welcome. We missed you. Anyways, today I'm going to be answering a question off of Reddit regarding when is my mix done? When is it finished? What do you check before? All these things we've all asked ourselves. Let's go. All right, so this person wrote, when is mix done? I'm a vocalist and I'm going to be mixing a 2-track with my own vocals. I want to know when the mix can be considered done. Like, obviously when I like it, but is there something more technical to consider before I get it mastered, like levels or checking stereo field? How do I do this also? Please, I'm a noob. Thanks. All right, so first thing, I want to give a lot of credit because they kind of answered it themselves when they said, like, obviously when I like it. That right there would have been my first answer. The mix is done when you like it, right? It's just like a painting is done when the artist likes it. There is no, checklist where it's like, okay, we did these things, that means it's done because we're working with art, right? So, with that being said, now let's talk about some more practical things. So, the first thing they were considering or suggesting was about levels. Now, if they mean internally, like within the mix, like levels and balance of different tracks amongst each other, that unfortunately or fortunately, depending how you look at it, is subjective. There is no like once everything is within 1 dB of each other or once everything there's none of that. It's if this everything feels good and it's at the level you like it and it fits within the genre the way you want it to or it doesn't the way you want it to, then you're good to go and it's done. But if you're talking about overall level of your whole file, like your whole mix session, the lofts or whatever, that isn't too important necessarily. Like it's not inherently important because it's just a mix. But with that being said, there's also the whole conversation of, loudness starts at the mix. You can't just have a super unbalanced and crazy mix and then think you're just going to master it to be super loud. It doesn't really work like that. But in terms of sending it to mastering, obviously you have to talk directly with your specific mastering engineer. They might have preferences, but in reality, the objective truth is as long as it's not clipping, as long as there's zero point 0.1 dB of headroom, that's fine. The mastering engineer has enough room because they can just gain it down. We could just use digital clean gain and we can make it -6 or -3 or -12 or -20 or -48, whatever you arbitrarily decide fits into your signal chain best as the mastering engineer, you can just make it that. Now, if it's coming in too hot and it's clipping and all of that, that's another discussion. That's a problem with the mix and your gain staging. But as long as you're not clipping, you should be good to go. But talk to your specific mastering engineer. If they prefer you to gain it down a little bit, just put a utility gain plugin at the end of your master chain and gain it down until it's at that level. The mix will stay 100% balanced the exact same. It's just quieter. So the mastering engineer has one less step to do. In terms of checking the stereo field, this one is technical and kind of subjective. Like it's objective and subjective. Like you don't want too many phasing issues. That's kind of like, unless you want that, right? But most times we don't want phasing issues. So there's an objective way to measure it with like a vector scope. You can see your phasing issues, etc. If there is, that means there's a problem in the mix somewhere you can fix. But other than that, in terms of how wide should your mix be or the movement within it and all that, that is really the artistic side and is subjective. And you don't need it to be a certain width or a certain amount of narrowness. That's up to you. And of course, you have more control because you're mixing and you have control of the individual tracks, but the mastering engineer can also make it wider or more narrow or, make some more phase coherency, whatever it may be. I would say get it to the best of your ability. Make sure there's nothing super technically wrong with it that's a problem at the track level because the mastering engineer can't do that. But as long as there's no like huge issues and you like the sound of it, you're good to go. And the mastering engineer will have the expertise to know to leave it alone because it's perfect and it suits your song, or they'll enhance it slightly in whatever direction they feel works for the song, and then you're both happy. That's the ideal outcome. So long story short, when is your mix done? When it's done, or when you feel like you can't make it any better. I feel like that's the reality, is your mix is done when either you can't make it any better or you start to make it worse and then you revert back a couple saves ago. It's more likely. Or it's just done when you're sick of it and you say, this is it, it's done. And that's just the sad reality of things. There is no objective measurement. Nobody's going to come down from the sky and say, your mix is now done, you completed it. You have to make that decision yourself, and that could be one of the hardest things. So hopefully that helped. Quick little one today, guys. Hope you got something from it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I've been appreciating all the love lately. We're just growing and growing and growing, man. We're taking off. I'm telling you, it's coming soon. Anyways, guys, my name is Inswain with Inswain Audio. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.